live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Sale, and today, there are only 4 weeks left in the NFL regular season. Week 14 is done. Week 15 gets started with some Thursday night action, 3 games on Saturday, the triple header, some big games on Sunday, and then Monday night, we have a pretty okay game. But let's get to everybody's favorite segment. Forgot my baseball cap. So we're going to do the recapping with Rich, starting off with last Thursday's game. Las Vegas Raiders against the LA Rams. And I'll be honest, this was a hard game to watch. If you were a fan of defense up until the last 4 or 5 minutes or so, mostly the game for you. But I actually turned this game off with, I want to say, I think it was 11 minutes. So I didn't even watch the whole game because I was like, it's hard to watch. I, was getting a little look for the Raiders because my Patriots played them this Sunday. So I figured, okay, let's check a little out. And it just got to a point where I was like, low scoring I expected and, hard to watch. But let's get to the bottom line notes of this game. Derek Carr played awful. Okay, he played awful. 137 yards, 2 INTs. We're going to talk about one in just a moment. Josh Jacobs carried the ball, 27 carries, 99 yards, and he had a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 3 catches, 71 yards on, 7 targets? Interesting. We'll get to that also in a moment. Offensive line protected well. Defense gave up 17. Average, it's not bad, but they did sell the game. Okay, they did sell the game. They got 4 sacks. Chandler Jones had a fumble recovery. And then here's really where we get to the nitty-gritty of why you lost this game. Las Vegas. The interception in the red zone by Carr is one of the biggest plays in the game because you lost by 1, right? You get over in points. Nothing. Because Carr got all fancy throwing off his back foot and throwing a dumb play in the end zone when you should have just thrown it away. But instead, he tries to be hero ball and try to float that ball. I don't know what he was doing in the red zone, okay? That was inexcusable. That was terrible, okay? If it's like Rodgers, Mahomes, like those quarterbacks that can do that stuff, it's understandable because there's not a high chance, but there's a good chance they can force that throw in and they can throw from any arm angle, stuff like that. But Carr is not that guy. Okay, I'm sorry. He just isn't. Very bad interception in the red zone. Basically the difference in the game when we really look at it. 5 of 13 on third down, not bad, but 1 for 4 in the red zone. 1 for 4. And you got to look at that one play in the red zone and think, if we even kick 3, we're having a different conversation. Yes. Yes, we are. 7 penalties for 94 yards. 2 turnovers. And here's the thing that's the worst. 4 10-plus point blown leads. I'll say it again. 4 leads blown by at least 10-plus points. The Kansas City game, the Cardinal game, the Jacksonville game, and now this game. That's bad. And normally when we look at those, we fall back on coaching. Now, Josh McDaniels, he's a great coordinator. Okay? Really good offensive mind. But there's some times, and I'll say this going back to when he was with my Patriots last year, sometimes late in games, the conservative approach is kind of too conservative a little bit. And yes, there were differing situations going back to last year when he was with the Patriots with Mac Jones and this with a proven quarterback like Carr and all the offensive talent they have around him. But the fact of the matter is, you have blown 4 10-plus point blown leads. And when you lose to the Rams, and a guy who hasn't even been with the team or the system in less than 2 days, and that's how you lose on a 98-yard drive playing press man? Ouch. Ooh. D-O-N-E. Done. That was demoralizing. They lost this game. Any chance of them making the playoffs? Do we know who they got coming up? I do. And trust me, that was their chance to make somewhat of a chance to make a run. Nope, they blew it. So, guess what? They're done. And I know my team versus them this Sunday. I'm just saying they are done, man. They're just a bad team. Which brings me to the Rams side of things. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. Baker Mayfield had a very nice game-winning drive, but for the most part, he was okay. Let's pump the brakes. Okay, he was okay. He did get 10 points in the last 2 drives, or 2 touchdowns. Okay, 14 points in the last 2 drives. Cam Akers, they ran the ball. They still don't have much of a running game. He did get a touchdown. Skoranek, 7 catches, 89 yards. He's filling in for everybody who's hurt on that team. Tutu Atwell, 5 for 50 yards. Van Jefferson caught a touchdown to pull it within, I want to say it was 6. Yeah, 16-10. Offensive line is still bad, but we forget about that. 4 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 16. Okay, that will win games. They did get no sacks. 2 INTs they were able to get off Derek Carr, one of them being the last play of the game. Taylor Rapp and Ernest Jones had a pick each. They did have a fumble and a missed field goal in some parts of the game. 4-12 on third down, not very good. 7 penalties. At least we can say this. Baker Mayfield might have found his new team for the future because we don't know how long Stafford's going to be with the Rams. I know they paid him a lot of money, and he got his ring, yes. But how much does he really want to play now that he got his championship? Baker Mayfield might have found his new team. Jets and the Bills. Watch this game real closely. Large part rooting against the Jets, which worked. Mike White was okay. He did show some toughness, taking a lot of hits in the game. I think he had 2 hits that he was on the ground. He had to come out for a couple plays because of the hits to the ribs he got. But he did have some bad plays where he took the sack on one. But he was all right. Bam Knight, 17 for 71, a touchdown on the ground. Looks like he's going to be their new running back with Breece Hall out and James Robinson in the doghouse and Michael Carter doing okay. Garrett Wilson, 6 for 78. Elijah Moore, 6 for 60 yards. Offensive line for the Jets, they're a running team. They gave up 4 sacks allowed against Buffalo, and this is without Von Miller, who's out for the year. Okay? 4 sacks allowed. They did it without Von Miller. That just shows you how deep Buffalo is with or without him. Okay? Defense gave up 20. It works if your offense can get 21, but against Buffalo, that's a tall task for them to do. They did get over 20. No, I think they did get 20 last time they played because it was 20-17, I want to say, the first meeting. They did get 3 sacks, 2 of them by Quinnen Williams. No takeaways. Here's where the game was won and lost. Mainly lost for the Jets. 3 missed opportunities. A fumble, another fumble, and a turnover on downs to end the game. 3 missed opportunities, okay? And then 8 of 17 on third down. That's pretty good because it's slightly under 50%. Not bad. 7 penalties, 2 turnovers. And now Zach Wilson is the backup. And I don't know if it's because Flacco's projected to be the starter for Mike White and they're just not saying anything. Or if Mike White's good to go and they're like, all right, Zach Wilson's learned a little bit, basically on the sidelines. Let's move him to the backup role. Just to kind of ease him back in, I guess. I don't know. But Zach Wilson's now the backup. So who knows if he touches the field. I think Mike White, like I said last week, 2 weeks ago, he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets. I think for the end of the season, barring injury, if he'll be able to good to go for Sunday, he should be the starter. And I think he'll end up being the starter for the rest of the season. Which brings me to Buffalo. Josh Allen was okay. 16 of 27. 147 yards through the air. He did have a passing touchdown to Knox. 10 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Not a great statistical game. He did have some throws he was off on. Like I said, Knox had a touchdown on the through the air before half. Offensive line did give up 3 sacks. Granted, the Jets are a tough physical front. And then the defense really helped them win the game. 12 points allowed. You could argue 10 because they did get the safety. So 10 points, 2 fumble recoveries, 4 sacks. Bills' defense is really good. Even without Von Miller, sure, that piece puts them over the top. But we'll never know because they got a postseason that they'll probably have to see what they can do without him. And they've been knocking on the door. I still think they'll come out of the AFC. Or they don't because of another team we're going to talk about later. All right, I'm really kind of thinking about, you know what? The team up north, not Michigan, no, that's college football. The team up in the AFC North, the Bengals, they have a very good shot to come out of the AFC. So that's who I mean, okay? So the Bengals might be their biggest competition. But 2 of 13 on third down for the Bills, that's an area to work on. Other than that, they win Saturday night. They're in the postseason. Speaking of the Bengals, Browns and the Bengals. Deshaun Watson was okay. Running game didn't really help much. I think Nick Chubb had, 14 for 34. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 8 catches, 114 yards. He's become a really bright star for them, even though they have Amari Cooper. They have the rookie they drafted, David Bell. And Njoku's been doing good. 7 catches for 59 yards, my fault, and a touchdown. But the issue with the Browns all season, I've said it, the defense. They're just not very good on defense. 23 points a lot isn't bad, but you have to have an offense that you can be for sure 24 points a game. Watson's kind of easing his way into the system. And let's face it, they're not making the postseason. Okay? Myles Garrett, 2 sacks on the Bengals, no surprise. 0 takeaways on defense. But the Browns, again, shoot themselves in the foot. 4 missed opportunities, 3 of them being turnover on downs, and an interception. 4 of 15 on third down. Not very good. 1 of 3 in the red zone. Lost by 13. Not good. 9 penalties, 98 yards, and the turnover. They're just not a very good team this year. And their offense, they got to figure out what Deshaun Watson does well. And he missed the majority of the year. We all know why. Next season's really where we see what the Browns do. I think this year was kind of just one where it was a throwaway in the sense that we see how they do without him, what they can build around Deshaun Watson with. They need to build a defense first. That defense, especially with what they have, Lamar and Burrow for the quarterbacks they got to go up against, they got to build that defense if they're going to plan on going anywhere. All right? And then if Pickett ever matures and develops, watch out. The Browns defense, though, they need to work on that in the offseason. Which brings me to the Bengals. Joe Burrow was okay. Joe Mixon came back, ran the ball really well. 14 carries, 96 yards. Samaje Perine had a rushing touchdown. Jamar Chase comes back. 10 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Actually, he was back for the Kansas City game. Trent Irwin, 45-yard touchdown to kind of help separate the gap from a 6-point to 13-point win. Defense, I said it last week, and I'm sticking with this. They're the most underrated defense in football right now. They held the Cleveland to 10 points, held Nick Chubb in check, 2 sacks, 9 quarterback hits on Deshaun Watson. Jesse Bates had an interception. Logan Wilson, the linebacker, 14 solo tackles. 14. That's insane, okay? In a game. I think he had, 16 or 17 total tackles on the day. The interception was the missed opportunity. That would have put the early knockout in, but they still won anyway. 6 of 15 on third down. Not bad. They had the 1 turnover. 5-1 at home, the Bengals are. 5-1. And I said weeks ago, before this winning streak really became, what are they, 9 of 11 now? They're 9-4, right? Around there. When they were 0-2 and they were in the middle of the winning streak, I said they're the most dangerous team in the AFC. Okay? Right in the middle when they were starting to heat up. I think I want to say it was after the Saints game. They're 5-1 at home. If they ever get a home playoff game like they did last year, you don't want to see this team in the first round. You just don't. Okay? They are gelling on both sides of the ball. Offense, they have a formula. They're balanced, but they're put the ball in Burrow's hands in crunch time, and he does his magic. Okay? And then that offensive line's protecting him well, and then that defense, I'm saying it right now, they're an underrated defense. They don't have a lot of names, but they get the job done, and that's going to be big in the playoffs because they know how to stop Mahomes, and I want to see Week 17 on Monday night what they do to Josh Allen, because if they do a good job on Buffalo, they could leapfrog Buffalo as maybe my AFC Super Bowl favorite. I'm not going there now. I'm going to stick with Buffalo because I have Bills-Niners when I did the midseason episode. I'm going to stick with it, but it's close. It's really close, all right? I had Bills and Cincy in my AFC Championship game, so I'm leaning that way, and I feel really good about it right now. Texans and the Cowboys. I'm only going to talk about Dallas here because there's more to take away with Dallas than there is the Texans. And we're not talking about the Texans, too. So, Dak Prescott was just all right. Running game did help. Zeke, 15 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 10 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. Also caught a touchdown out of the backfield. All right. Dalton Schultz, 6 catches, 87 yards. Noah Brown, 4 catches, 85 yards. Defense, 23 points allowed. Their offense can score 24 plus, so that's not that bad, but it's all right. No sacks, 1 QB hit. Really? On the Texans? Come on, Dallas. That's not good. With the front four they have, and no excuse. No excuse. 1 QB hit and no sacks on Davis Mills / Kyle Allen? Really? That's not good. Trayvon Diggs did have a fumble recovery. Mukawamu had an INT. Sorry if I butchered the name. Interception, turnover on downs. That's just plays where they're going to eventually hurt if you run into the wrong team. Okay? And when you leave points off the board, it's just no go. Okay? 8 of 15 on third down, over 50%. That works. 8 yards per pass you allowed the Texans to have. 8 yards per pass. Okay? That's some second-level stats, I guess, if you want to say. 3 turnovers. 3 of 5 in the red zone. Alarming, if you ask me. Alarming. Okay? The one issue I think Dallas has is penalties and bad coaching at the worst time. Okay? That's where their issues are. And they happen to shoot themselves in the foot at the worst times. Okay? McCarthy sometimes going for it on 4th down at a really bad time in the game. Taking points off the board is always something that he does, right? But 3 turnovers. They were low on penalties, so we got to give them that. But 3 of 5 in the red zone. All right? And that pass defense Listen, they can stop the run, but the passing game, I don't know. I know they got pass rushers, yes, but outside of Trayvon Diggs, who's all right, who is their real reliable secondary option in the secondary? Nobody. And that's what concerns me. They are 7-1 at home, but they're going to be in a road. They're going to be on the road as a wild card. So, but it's still impressive. Let's just wanted to throw an interesting note out there. Vikings and the Lions. Kirk Cousins, 31 of 41, 425 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook did get one in the end zone, but the running game, it sucked against the Lions. It sucked. I don't know if they abandoned it because they were behind most of the game, or Detroit just finally found out how to stop the run. I don't know. Could be both. Or Kevin O'Connell's just unwilling to run the ball with, you could argue, a top 10 back in the league. All right? Justin Jefferson, 11 catches, 233 yards. 11 catches for 233 yards. He might break Megatron's record this year at the pace he's on. Yes, it's insane. I know. Okay? T.J. Hawkinson, 6 catches, 77 yards. Adam Thielen, 7 for 65 yards and a touchdown. KJ Osborne had a receiving touchdown. Offensive line, 4 sacks allowed. Yikes, that's not a good sign. Defense gave up 34 points allowed. The one issue I've had with them all year, okay? They just ran into a Detroit offense that can score. They're red hot right now, and they're rolling. 0 sacks, no takeaways. Here's the stat, the missed opportunities. This is why they lost. Turnover on downs, okay? And they fumbled in the red zone. You lost by 11. Those 2 drives hurt you, okay? I know you're going to lose games in this league, but still, those are things you have to... Those are things that I know happen sometimes, but that's missed opportunities to at least try to get points on the board. And when you take points off the board, it comes back to bite you. All right? 4 of 10 on third down. That's good. 40% can work. 2 turnovers. That won't work. 2 of 4 in the red zone. We mentioned those 2 drives. Not good if you're the Vikings. Not good. I would be slightly concerned. Slightly. Okay? Which brings me to the Lions. Jared Goff played well. 27 of 39. 330 yards up through the air. 3 touchdowns. Could you argue it's his best game of the season? I would. Although it's the Vikings defense. Justin Jackson had a rushing touchdown. DJ Chark, 6 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Jamison Williams had a 41-yard touchdown in his NFL debut. Josh Reynolds, 5 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches, 68 yards. The defense, 23 points allowed, 2 fumble recoveries, 4 sacks. They got takeaways. They got pressure on Cousins. It works. Your offense can score. You just got to make sure that you keep them 23, 20 or under is really good. 23 is not bad because you have an offense that can score. It's just the next thing I'm going to say. Missed opportunities with them. Turnover on downs early in the game. They were able to recover, though. Missed field goal. Again, they were able to, capitalize off other things and stuff like that. But that's the one thing with the Lions that always goes the wrong way. They always find a way, whether it's turnover on downs, missed field goal, something weird just always happens where it's like bad luck. Okay? 7 penalties, though. Lions got a nice 4-game stretch coming up. They could make a run. Giants and Washington got to play each other. Seattle's closing stretch is brutal. This is a good opportunity for the Lions. I am rooting for you guys against the Jets, so I need you to beat the Jets. However, I don't know if I feel confident with their defense because Mike White might have a field day on them. I don't know. I'm just not sold. But I will be rooting for the Lions. Jaguars and the Titans. I will be rooting for the Lions this week. Okay? Jaguars and the Titans. Trevor Lawrence, 30 of 42, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, and a rushing touchdown. Woo! Wow, 2 weeks in a row now. 2 weeks in a row he's cooking. Or 2 out of 3. Wow. No one saw, I don't think I saw this coming. I did not. Okay? But I knew that the Titans secondary was concerned, but no way did I think Jacksonville would beat him in Tennessee. Evan Ingram, 11 catches, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a monster game. Zay Jones, 8 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. The Jacksonville defense, 4 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, 22 points allowed. Wow. That's actually really good for them. And I said they couldn't stop a Colt. I still believe that, but this was an outlier. But Jacksonville defense really helped out winning the game. Derrick Henry fumbled twice. Interesting. Turnover on downs they had as the lone missed opportunity, but they won by 15, so they were able to overcome that. 6 of 13 on third down. Pretty good. 2 of 4 in the red zone. That could be a little better. That gives them something to work on. 9 penalties for 70 yards. That's got to come down because penalties will hurt you in a game. But Jacksonville, big win on the road, and they are still alive for a playoff spot. And 2 games out of the division. And they play Tennessee last game of the season. Tennessee looks not that great lately. They do not look great of late. But we'll get to the Titans in just a moment. But Jacksonville does play the Jets. Titans once. Texans. Tough game, though, this week against Dallas. But Jacksonville is rolling. And we said they'll be better with Doug Peterson than Urban Meyer. I think that conclusion has been settled. Which brings me to the Titans. Tannehill was just okay. Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. He did good. He just fumbled twice. It happens to the great ones. I know. Austin Hooper, 5 catches, 68 yards. Okonkwo, Westbrook Akine had a touchdown each. Offensive line has just been brutal for them. I mean, like I said, they're just a run-blocking line. They gave up 4 sacks allowed this game to Jacksonville. Okay? You know, it's understandable when you play a team like Philly last week, and that happens. But Jacksonville? No. There's problems there. Defense had a horrible day. 36 points allowed. And then here's really where they lost. INT, fumble, turnover on downs. 4 missed opportunities. 4. That's bad. 4 missed opportunities that was out there, and that's not good. 4 turnovers. This is not good. I know they were 5 of 10 on third down, but 4 turnovers. That's a really bad game. Tennessee now has lost 3 straight. And Vrabel, I trust to figure things out. But Tennessee looks like they've hit a wall. And they're playing the Chargers team next week that it's not getting easier. You got Jacksonville one more time to end the year. Could come down to the division depending on how they are going to finish the year. They got Dallas, I believe, coming up as one of the games. I forgot who was sandwiched in between the Chargers and, the Texans. They'll beat the Texans. Unless they really lose that. Then that's when panic mode starts. But they're not going to be in panic mode. But they got tough games against the Chargers and Dallas, which I think they'll split those games. And they could win both. But Tennessee's hitting a wall right now, and they don't look good. They do not look good. Eagles and the Giants. Jalen Hurts, 21 of 31, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 7 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. It's not eye-popping stat numbers, but it gets the job done. He impacts both the passing game and the running game, which is what a dual-threat quarterback does. Miles Sanders had a monster day on the ground. Not yesterday. Sunday. 17 for 144, 2 touchdowns. Wow. Boston Scott had a rushing touchdown. And then A.J. Brown, 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Okay? Offensive line did give up 4 sacks. So they did struggle there. Defense gave up 22. It works. 7 sacks, 12 QB hits. And Johnson had a fumble recovery. 7 sacks, 12 QB hits. The only way to maybe neutralize this defense getting after you is if you protect your quarterback well. And there's some offensive lines, the Niners, that I think have a good chance to match up with them. In the NFC, there's not really much. So, like I said, there's only one team I think that can beat them, and that's the Niners. Because I think their offensive line can match up with Philly up front. Other than that, Dallas has a good line. I should say that. But, again, can they protect them for 4 quarters? So, Dallas and the Niners, I think, up front, when I look at their offensive line, they can hold up with Philly's front 4. That's their only way to beat them. They had the block punt, which, keep note of this, because we never talked about special teams, and that was the one Achilles heel with a Packers team last year, which they were like horrible. I don't know where Philly's ranked in special teams. That's for my advanced stats, for fans that watch this. I don't know where they rank. I'm sure they rank pretty high there, but a block punt, keep note of this. All right, it's rare, but I wouldn't be surprised if this happens somewhere down the road. Okay, 6 of 11 on 3rd down. That's really good. First team to clinch a playoff spot this year. 12-1. They're 2 up on Dallas with a game in Dallas to close the year out. I believe it's week 16. Oh no, not this Sunday. The following Saturday, Christmas Eve. That should be fun. Okay, very interesting game. It's going to come down to. All right, week 16, I believe that is. Which brings me to the Giants. Boy, this is going to be fun. I told you guys. But guess what? Let's get to the stats first. Daniel Jones was okay. He had a rushing touchdown, also threw one. He had the same amount of passing touchdowns as Tyrod Taylor. Interesting to note of. Richie James had 7 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Isaiah Hodgins had a touchdown. That offensive line is brutal. 7 sacks allowed. The one kryptonite they are going to have. No, actually 2. 3. They got some kryptonite problems. Okay. Defense gave up 48 points, 4 sacks, 0 takeaways. They got after Jalen Hurts, yeah, but they gave up a shit ton of points. Okay? Turnover on downs, fumble when the game was basically out of reach. Here's the big problem, though. Your schedule doesn't get any better. And I told you guys when you guys were, 6-1? And I got a message from my friends in this group chat that are watching. I want to know where that Giants energy is because I don't hear it a lot lately. If anything, I smell panic mode. But let me say this. I'm patient. See, I know this. Okay? They're still in the 7th seed. Why are we panicking? You got Washington coming up. That's your real test. Because you got the division games you got to win. You're going to beat probably Philly when they rest starters, okay? So let's not worry. You're still in the playoffs. But let me tell you something. You got Washington coming up in Wash. I might pick you to win that game. Because I don't know if I trust Heineke off the bye. The Vikings, their defense is not very good. But let me tell you something. I have patience. See, I know it's going to go all the way down like this. You guys ever been on a roller coaster with that sudden drop that just comes out of nowhere? Just when you think it's going to happen at this point in the ride, and then you get to the highest point of elevation, and then it just suddenly goes down and you feel the wind come up to your face. That's what the Giants season is going to happen. I'm telling you, the sudden drop's just coming right down. It's just going to come boom like that. And it's just going to fall apart. Okay? When you were 6-1, the rise of the ride was feeling real good. Oh, it's going to be great. And then when you met Seattle, it started to go a little down. And then you had the Lions. Unexpected loss, which looks good for the moment now because the Lions are rolling. And then you had Dallas and Dallas. You knew you were not going to beat them, okay? You tie with Washington. That's another step. And then you lost to the Eagles. You got crushed at home in a rivalry game. Oh, and you got in Minnesota, in Philly, left to go. But Philly might rest their starters, so we might not have to count that. But you got those two teams coming up, and your playoff hopes are on the line. Let me tell you this, though. In all seriousness, I think they're going to get in because Seattle's schedule's tough, and I don't trust Washington with that schedule either. And I look at whoever's ahead of them, I'm trying to remember who the 6th seed was, but I know they're 7th. I had it written down somewhere. But I don't like Seattle's schedule. I don't like Washington's schedule. They're going to be okay. They're going to be fine, okay? But let me tell you this. You know the accident's going to happen. They're an accident waiting to happen. So if they ever fall apart down the stretch, don't be surprised. What can go wrong will go wrong. Trust me, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Something's going to happen where they're going to just fall apart. Okay? Maybe Seattle gets in over them. Maybe Washington surprises them this Sunday night. I'm patient. Just wait. Okay? What can go wrong will go wrong. The Giants are like one of those sudden drops on a roller coaster. Okay? Your favorite ride in an amusement park. Where those sudden drops happen. Trust me. What can go wrong will go wrong. Don't panic yet. But trust me. They're going to panic once they lose to the Vikings, maybe Washington. It's going to be great. And I'm going to just sit back and go, I told you so. Because I knew it was bound to happen. Because that's what happens when you play the good teams. You got no offensive line when you play a great pass rush. You're going to have a ton of those teams in the playoffs. You're not ready to beat those teams just on that alone. No wide receivers, okay? Look at other teams that have no receivers. How are they faring? Not very good, right? And your quarterback is not the future. And Sean might extend Daniel Jones and Saquon. Are we sure about that? Are we sure? I don't know about that. But let me tell you something, Giants. I'm going to be sitting back enjoying you. Oh, this is going to be great. If you just collapse and fall apart, this is great. Okay? I'm telling you, it's going to get real, real rough. Oh, this is great. Ravens and the Steelers. Let's be honest. Passing game didn't do much because they had a backup and a third stringer in the same game. No, it actually happened. Running game really cooked. J.K. Dobbins came off IR. 15 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Gus Edwards had 13 carries, 66 yards. Defense had 2 sacks, 14 points allowed, 3 interceptions. It's Mitchell Trubisky. You should have won this game because Pickett got out with a concussion. If Kenny Pickett did this, I wouldn't be surprised. But Kenny Pickett gives them a better chance than Trubisky, clearly. But still, this was expected, okay? With a backup, maybe not as much, but that defense, you should be doing this, okay? The running game, though, we kind of figured they would always lean on that, right? They had the 1 turnover on downs. 4 of 13 on third down, that's all right. Not really that good. 1 of 3 in the red zone, 5 penalties. They look sloppy. And I get it. In Cleveland's, division rivalry, you never know what happens. Atlanta, they should beat. Pittsburgh at home, they should beat. But Pittsburgh always plays them tough, like this game. And then at Cincinnati to close out the year. Baltimore looks sloppy at a bad time right now. And Lamar's not healthy. I don't know if they're going to go far with that. I think the Bengals look like they're going to win that division. But the Ravens would not surprise me because of that easy schedule. But you have no excuses. Absolutely none. None. which brings me to the Steelers. Just when I gave them credit, they were playing well, and then they show this. No, it's not all Tomlin's fault. I'm not going to blame Tomlin. I'm not. I am going to blame how bad Mitchell Trubisky looked. He played terrible. Okay? Najee had a rushing touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 6 for 82. Pickens, 3 for 78. Freiermuth had a touchdown. Defense did do their job. 2 sacks, 16 points allowed. They got no takeaways. But 4 missed opportunities. Pittsburgh, close your eyes like I'm doing now. I can read them off with my eyes closed. INT, missed field goal. Holy shit, I got it right. INT, missed field goal. Did not think I got it right. Actually, I read my notes, so that's what I saw when I wrote it. And one of those things just had to go your way, and you would be right back in the playoff mix. Instead, you're sitting on the verge of your first losing season in the Mike Tomlin era. And I know it's been rough, but this game was there for the taking, and you blew this game in so many different ways. But Mitch Trubisky did play horrible, I know, but one of those things just had to go your way, and we might be talking about them still in the playoff hunt, but for now, I don't see it. All right? 4 of 8 on third down, that's great. The only problem is they can't score. 2 of 4 in the red zone, 3 turnovers. Oh, man, it's brutal for Pittsburgh. It's brutal. Chiefs and the Broncos. Denver, we're done talking about you. You're out of the playoffs, so this is just about the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was just all right this game. Just all right. Had some nice throws, but 3 horrible interceptions. 3 bad interceptions. 28 of 42, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Running game did not... No, actually, the running game was good. Pacheco and McKinnon had some nice runs. McKinnon did more damage in the passing game, 7 for 112 and 2 touchdowns through the air. Juju, 9 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Kelsey, 4 for 71. That Chiefs defense, though, I don't think they're that good. And I'm saying it again. When they played Allen and Burrow, they were horrible. Okay? Now, here's the thing with them. Okay? Against the really, really good QBs in the AFC, I'll even throw a Herbert in there. Those 3 at least got 24 plus on them. In all 4 meetings, they all got 24 plus. Okay? And yeah, the Chargers lost both meetings. But this is what I'm going to say. If you're a team that can't throw, the Chiefs defense has a chance. Unless you just destroy them on the running game, which Baltimore can do. Tennessee was able to do a little bit. But that's a unique situation where that has to go absolutely right for you. And I don't know if many teams have that dominant of a running game. But I feel like in order to beat KC, you have to beat them through the air more. Because they're going to blitz you a lot. And Burrow and Allen are great against the blitz. Even Herbert's not that bad. But I wouldn't say he's as great as Allen and Burrow against the blitz. Even though we looked at the Miami game, which we'll talk about in a moment. I think this Chiefs defense, if they play Buffalo or Cincinnati, they're going to lose. Because they're going to get torched through the air. They don't have a defense that can stop those 2 guys. They don't. And I know everybody's going to say, well, Allen lost both times to Mahomes in the playoffs. Well, you guys are due with that bad defense of yours. You let the Broncos, who could barely score all year, put up 28 at home against you. 28! And Russell Wilson got concussed. Really? Your defense is not good. It's not. When you get the right matchup, you're going down. I know it. Okay? I know they gave up 28. I know they got the Willie Gay pick 6 from 47 yards. I know L'Jarius Sneed got an INT. They got 6 sacks, 11 quarterback hits. I got all that. But when you play the big boys, you're going to go down. Okay, and that's the matter of the truth. You're going down once you play Buffalo or Cincy. And that's going to happen maybe in the second round. Unless you get the 1 seed, which you do have a favorable schedule than the Bills or the Bengals do. But I'm telling you right now, if you play one of them in round 2, which is divisional round, you're losing. You're losing. It's going to happen. Okay? 6 of 12 on third down. That's great. You did have 2 INTs become your missed opportunities. And Mahomes one day, that's going to bite him really bad in a big game. Remember Cincinnati last year? I do. Remember that 3-4 start they had? They didn't play well? Yeah, I do. He will have bad throws where you're going to be like, why would you do that? He's getting away with it now because it's bad teams. But when he plays good teams and does this, not for long. 3 turnovers. Very concerning. 70 yards off penalties. Red flags. I'm telling you, that Chiefs defense, there's leaks. There's cracks. And it will fall apart when you play that good team. And trust me, it's going to happen against Buffalo or Cincy. I'm banking on it. Bucs and the Niners. Kind of was on and off about this game. I watched some of it, but once it became a blowout, I didn't really watch much. Obviously, Brady didn't play well. I know he didn't get sacked. I know he didn't. He had 2 interceptions. I know he didn't play well. I'll say that. Running game, Godwin 5 for 54. Russell Gage had a receiving touchdown. That Bucs defense, though, they played horrible too. All right, 35 points allowed, no sacks, 1 fumble recovery. They had a missed field goal early in the game, then a turnover on downs in the red zone, interception, turnover on downs, and a fumble. Another game where they just have missed opportunities and droughts that just, they can't do anything. And I watched him, and I'm looking at Tom, and he's missed some throws he normally makes. I know. But that offensive line, I know, lost Tristan Wirfs. I'm not going to blame the line for everything, but they have not played well this whole year. And I said in midseason it's going to be panic time. We're past panic time. Desperation right now. Okay? And I hope they win their division, but I don't feel good about it after what I'm seeing. And they got Cincinnati coming up. They should beat Arizona, but they got Carolina and Atlanta in the division, and those are games you're going to need to win. And they're both really close. They're like a game back of you still. What are we going to make of that? But again, it is Tom Brady. I won't bet against him in a big game, but this is not good right now. This is beyond panic time. I don't know what we're going to do about this. 8 penalties, 3 turnovers, a lot of problems that need to be fixed in a short amount of time. They got 4 weeks to get their shit together if they want to be any bit of a playoff team, even though they're not technically looking like a team that's a playoff team. But all you need is maybe one stretch to get things right, and they'll be fine. But I don't see it with this team. I don't see it. Which brings me to the Niners. Brock Purdy played great. 16-21, 185, 2 touchdowns, rushing touchdown. For you stat heads, I know it's not great, but he was efficient. He took care of the ball. He ran a touchdown in. Made good decisions. He's not bad. He really is not that bad, okay? For you college football fans, I remember him at Iowa State. He had some, he was known as a gunslinger in Iowa State. Forced some throws into, tight windows and had some interceptions where they were a little head-scratching. But Kyle Shanahan's the perfect guy for him because he's going to tell him just don't be the reason we lose the game. And like I said last week, he's just got to play the Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer role. Don't screw up the game. Don't mess the game up, okay? They have skill position players around him. They have an offensive line that can protect him. They have a running game that can help him. They have a defense that's the best defense in the league. All he has to do is just not screw it up, and that's it. That's it. And he's the guy that just has to keep the ship afloat and don't mess it up. And he's capable of that. I believe he is. Okay? Christian McCaffrey, 14 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Had a receiving touchdown as well. Debo had a rushing touchdown before he got hurt. He'll be back before the end of the season. He'll be able to play in the playoffs. Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Like I said, the defense is the best in the league. You got to give credit where credit's due. 7 points allowed. Al Shire had a fumble recovery. 4 of 9 on third down. That's really good. 6-1 at home. 6-1 at home. You don't want to play them at all. This is the team you don't want to play at all. All right? It's going to be rough. Trust me. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of teams right now that are, I think they're the 3 seed right now with a chance to get the 2 seed. Okay? And Minnesota, I know they have a favorable schedule, but the Niners are just right behind them. And Minnesota's defense might make them go from 2 to 3. The Niners could be in the 2 seed. They have a chance to get maybe 2 playoff games at home. I wouldn't want that. I would not want that if I'm Minnesota. You got to keep a foot on the gas. Because if the Niners ever get 2 home playoff games, it's going to be a long, long road for whoever's got to play them. First or second round. Okay? Because they are the team that could beat Philly. They're the team that could beat Philly and represent the NFC. They are more than capable. Defense, run game, travels. All Kyle Shanahan has to do is just not mess up the game, which he has a history of. Panthers and Seahawks. Whoever got the upset, good for you. Because there were a couple people I heard that liked this upset. But I picked Seattle. I picked the over if you watch Guarantee It's. Sam Darnold was okay. Running game 8. Hubbard, Foreman ran the ball really well. Hubbard did get a touchdown. Blackstar had a rushing touchdown. Shi Smith had a receiving touchdown. 24 points allowed. The defense gave up. That's all right. 3 sacks they got. Taylor Jr. had a fumble recovery. The defense did get 2 interceptions. They had 1 turnover on downs they were able to overcome. 6 of 13 on third down. That's pretty good. 6 penalties. Panthers get a big win on the road. It's actually their first road win of the year. First road win of the year the Panthers had. Wow. Somehow, they're winning. And I thought they were going to get the first pick in the draft. Boy, was I wrong. They are really playing well for Steve Wilkes. I don't know if he'll get the permanent head coaching job, but he's got them playing really well lately. Which brings me to Seattle. They have hit rock bottom right now. They can't stop the run. And I'm looking at the teams they got coming up. The Niners Thursday night. The Jets are a running team. I know KC is running a little bit, but they're more of a throwing team. They got to figure out how to stop the run. Because Seattle in the last 3 weeks, Tampa, Carolina, and Vegas, one common denominator. They cannot stop the run. Rachaad White had a big day. The Panthers' backs had a big day. Josh Jacobs had a big day. Seattle has to go back to stopping the run. And I don't know if they're going to be able to fix this. I don't know if they are. Because they can't stop the run at all. Geno was okay. He had some bonehead interceptions. Running game, Marquise Goodwin, 5 catches, 95 yards and a touchdown. Metcalf, 5 for 71 and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, 5 for 60 yards and a touchdown. Offensive line, 3 sacks allowed. They were able to get 2 on defense. Did give up 30 points, which is not good for them because that's going to be their Achilles heel down the stretch. They got no takeaways. They had a bad interception. That was a missed opportunity. 6 of 13 on third down. That's pretty good. 2 turnovers, though. They got to fix this. Seattle's they're not on life support, but they are on major, they got problems. They cannot stop the run. They got to figure out how to stop the run in the last 4 weeks. 2 of those teams becoming run-heavy teams. And Kansas City's kind of found the running game with Pacheco and Edwards-Helaire. But I believe they'll throw more in Seattle than actually run. Miami and the Chargers. I was going to save something that I learned in the beginning of the year, but I'm going to say this now, actually. And shout out to my friend Joey, NBA Nerd, we call him. He was on for the 3rd episode of the year. And I got to tell this story real quick. So I got a text from him that he met one of, I think it was Brian Flores' family friends. Okay, he met one of them at an event. And he told me, he's like, Flores wanted Herbert over Tua. And I was like, really? I couldn't believe this. Okay? And he said he wanted Herbert over Tua when they were going through the pre-draft process, right? And that's not good because, especially how bad Tua played, which we'll get to, but Flores wanted Herbert over Tua. Okay? He actually said this. Okay? Now, whoever made the decision process for the draft, whether it was, I think, Chris Greer or Stephen Ross wanted Tua, that I don't know. But Flores wanted Herbert. Okay? That's what we do know. Okay? And I was like, wow. So Brian Flores didn't want Tua. That might explain why he's out in Miami. But at the same time, what could have been? And Tua's playing bad. Oh, Miami, it stings. You could have had Herbert. I know Tua's undefeated against my Patriots. Okay. But you could have had Herbert. But you took Tua over him. This game kind of validates that because Tua played terrible. Terrible. Now, I'm going to say some of it was Miami receivers not looking for the ball. But, man, what could have been? Tua played terrible this game. Miami receivers weren't looking for the ball. Running game, And I'm looking at Miami's offense and I'm saying, it's Tyreek or bust. Because all Tua is looking at is Tyreek, and that's it. He's not looking at Waddle. He's not looking at Sherfield. He's not looking at Cedric Wilson, which I don't know why they're not using more. Okay? He's not looking at any of his other guys except Tyreek. I think he's too Tyreek happy, and that offense is too Tyreek centric. Okay? He did have 4 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Thank you, Jalen Waddle and Jeff Wilson, for costing me my fantasy week. Defense did have 4 sacks, 23 points allowed. No takeaways. 3 of 11 on third down. That's not great. That's terrible. 6 penalties. Miami has come back down to earth. I said this late season stretch is brutal, and it's not getting easier because Buffalo, you're supposed to get 7 inches of snow. And Miami sucks in the cold, even going back to the Marino days. Okay? Before that, if you want to go to the New England snowplow game. All right? They suck in the cold. All right? And I might have my best bet ready for guarantee. I can't wait. It might involve this game. Miami and Buffalo, I'm saying. Which brings me to the Chargers. Justin Herbert played great. 39 of 51, 367 yards and a touchdown. Maybe the best game of his career. Austin Eckler had a rushing touchdown. Mike Williams, 6 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 12 for 92. Offensive line is going to concern me. Now, I know they're supposed to get Rashawn Slater back. Joey Bosa's supposed to come back, I heard, for them on defense. But if they get those guys back, that's going to be huge. I just don't know if they're going to make... They're going to make an impact, yes, but I don't know if it's going to translate to what we think they're going to be from wins because their schedule's favorable. They got the Titans at Colts, I believe, Monday night. And then they got, I know, at Denver and then at Rams, which I believe is New Year's Eve, I think, or maybe it might be that Sunday game, that Sunday night game. I don't know. It's something like that. Okay? And it's favorable. But Brandon Staley, I told you, I'm off the bandwagon. I've been off since week 6. I'm not jumping back on. No way. Do they get in the playoffs, I think? There's a very good chance they will. Although I hope not, because of my team I'm going to bring up in a little bit. But I hope they don't get in. But if they do, it would not surprise me. Because I think people would want to see Herbert over the terrible Patriots offense and the Jets. That's just me. Defense gave up 17 points allowed. That works. 2 sacks. Pretty good. They had the 1 turnover on downs early in the game from the 2-yard line. Take the points, Staley. Take the points. But he doesn't. 9 of 18. It's great. I know one gamble paid off. I know. Before half it paid off. But still. They have cost you games in the past. And they almost cost you the Cleveland game. Remember that? I do. 2 of 6 in the red zone. Again, That's not something you want to have. It's not good, okay? It's not good in the red zone. 6 penalties, some cleaning up to do. Again, they are showing signs where I'm like, I don't really trust them down the road. I don't. Do I think they'll get in? Yes. Do I hope they do? No. Patriots and the Cardinals. Mac Jones was okay. Ramondre Stevenson got hurt. Bad fantasy week for me with injuries and the shit that Jalen Waddle and Jeff Wilson did. Although Jeff Wilson got hurt too. Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris, both had some nice runs. Touchdown each. Hunter Henry had some nice big catches. He did really good. Defense, this is going to be the formula. You need a defense to play lights out, which I don't know if it's sustainable. They gave up 13, 6 sacks. Raekwon McMillan had a fumble recovery for touchdown. Marcus Jones had an interception. The one interception where Mac got hit and the ball was wobbly, that cannot happen. Okay, if you're going to make any type of a run, your schedule's brutal. I know. 3 of 11 on third down, not really that good. 2 of 4 in the red zone. They need that one game where just the red zone, everything clicks. And I just don't know if that's ever going to happen because we all know who's calling plays. 8 penalties for 80 yards. Again, that's got to come down too because that will not work against the schedule that we have coming up. It just won't. Which brings me to the Cardinals. Sucks that Kyler Murray's out. Colt McCoy was okay. James Conner ran the ball well. 15 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 catches, 79 yards. Offensive line was bad, man. 6 sacks allowed. Defense did give up 27 points allowed. 1 sack. Isaiah Simmons had an interception. The Cardinals just keep throwing away points. Missed field goal, turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs. I think they set the record for most turnover on downs in a game. 4. There might be someone that's probably more, but I don't know. This has to be a record. 4 turnover on downs in a game. Ouch. And when I forgot to mention my defense, they did give up. I did say 6 sacks. I don't know why I didn't write it. Oh no, I did have it in my notes. Josh Uche is 10 sacks for us on the year. Judon had a sack and a half. I forgot to bring that up. But Arizona definitely probably set the NFL record for most turnover on downs in a game. Probably they didn't. I don't know. 4 of 14 on third down, not very good. 1 of 3 in the red zone. That's not good at all. 2 turnovers, 8 penalties. It's going to be a rough 4 games. They're just not good. Okay? All right, so that's the recap of Rich segment for Week 14. Let's get into the Week 15 picks, starting with tomorrow night. Niners and the Seahawks. Seattle can't stop the run. The Niners are playing well on both sides. Plus, I got the Niners defense in fantasy in my playoffs. So, I hope that the Niners defense gives me some fantasy points, even though I hope they don't give up 17. But I got the score of 27-17 Niners over the Seahawks. I think that I actually do have Lockett, so I need Lockett to get a touchdown too. So give me the 27-17 Niners over the Seahawks. Vikings and the Colts. Do you really think I'm trusting Matt Ryan to score 20 plus on the Vikings and beat them? No. I got the Vikings 30-16. I think that Minnesota, they can score on the Colts. I think Colts defense is good, but with Shaq Leonard being out, they can definitely hang in there, but I don't know if they're going to hang in there enough. And I think Minnesota's eventually going to just have 2 big drives where it's just going to separate the game. I think it's going to be 30-16 Vikings over the Colts. Browns and the Ravens. I don't know if Lamar is playing or if Tyler Huntley's playing or if the third stringer's playing. I like Cleveland anyway. I just have to go with them because I feel like that the Ravens defense has just never been consistent. They're another team with blown leads throughout the season. I just feel like that Cleveland played them tough the first time. And I think they're going to win this game in the dog pound. I got Cleveland 24-21 over the Ravens. I think that Cleveland can run on them. I think Cooper and Peoples-Jones has been playing well. They do need to get David Bell, a rookie, going more. I think Njoku's playing really good. I got the Browns 24-21 over the Ravens. Bills in Miami. 7 inches of snow, I heard. I think Buffalo's used to it. Miami isn't. That's what makes me pick this score. I'm going 31-13, Buffalo over Miami. I don't think two of them are going to move the ball that well. Miami doesn't want to run. They're too Tyreek Hill-centric. I think that they're not going to be able to throw the ball well. Tua's never played in the snow. Buffalo's used to it. Give me Buffalo 31-13 over the Dolphins. Eagles and the Bears. I don't know how the Eagles are going to do against Justin Fields. I still think they're going to win because the Bears' defense is awful against the run and in general. I got the Eagles 38-23 over the Bears. I just don't know how the Eagles are going to stop Fields, but I think they're going to do just enough. Okay? I think they're going to do just enough. I think they'll win convincingly, but I'm going 38-23 over the Bears. Saints and the Falcons. I hate picking these games because I don't know who's going to win. But I need Alvin Kamara to finally have a bust-out fantasy game for me, please. Because I can't have him get under 10 points again. Okay? Especially for people that are in fantasy playoffs. Can he please get at least 15 to 20 plus? Please? I mean, come on, man. Atlanta's not that great on defense. But Dennis Allen, he's not a great head coach. But I'm still going to pick the Saints because I just don't know what Desmond Ridder's going to bring against a great defense. Well, not a great defense, but a slightly average defense. Give me the Saints 20-14 over the Falcons. Jets and the Lions. I want to pick the Lions so bad. So bad. I just can't trust the defense because they can give up 30 points one week and then they're playing better, but I can't trust them to win a game I need the Jets to lose. I don't know if I can do that. I'll root for them. That doesn't mean I believe that it's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong with this pick, but we're going to go with it anyway. Give me the Jets 27-24 on the Lions. I just feel like the Lions' bad luck is just going to come back again. And I think the Jets are going to win. Mike White might cook them. All right? I don't trust Detroit's defense week to week. I don't. That's why I'm taking the Jets 27-24 over the Lions. Panthers and Steelers. This is guessing Kenny Pickett doesn't play. I'm going the Panthers. All right? I thought the Steelers would be able to stop the Ravens' running game. They didn't. I don't know how they're going to stop the running game of the Panthers with Hubbard and Foreman. I do believe they can get a takeaway on Sam Darnold. That I believe will happen. But who's quarterbacking? Trubisky? I'm supposed to trust Trubisky over Sam Darnold. Give me Panthers 23-19. They're playing well. Pittsburgh blew a golden opportunity. I think Pittsburgh loses this game. Cowboys, Jaguars. Sneaky good game of the week. Sneaky good game of the week. I don't know if I trust Dallas to beat Jacksonville. I just feel like they escaped a win. They escaped a huge upset. Are they going to be able to get up for Jacksonville with Philly looming on next Saturday? Are they going to be able to get up for Jacksonville? Are they looking past Philly? I don't know. I'm looking at Dallas winning 31-27, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't be shocked if this game's another sweat for Dallas. Don't be surprised. 31-27 Dallas over the Jaguars. Wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville wins. Chiefs and the Texans. Mahomes should light up 40. Texans are awful. He should light up 40. And he needs to put up 30 plus for me in fantasy. Please don't throw a pick for once. I'm in my playoffs. I got to win these, okay? Give me the Chiefs 41-13 over the Texans. It's easy for me on that. Broncos and the Cardinals. This is a dead under. I don't know if Wilson's playing, but this is a crapshoot. Okay? Dumpster fire. I'll take Denver because they're the home team, and I just think they're going to win because of defense. And I think that I need Denver to clamp up Hopkins, so give me the Broncos 19-13 over the Cardinals. Patriots in Las Vegas. If we can't beat Josh McDaniels, who lost to Jeff Saturday and Baker Mayfield on the year, then this is shameful. I'm literally hanging on by a thread trying to watch my team. Okay? I don't know if we're going to score 27 back-to-back weeks. I don't think we will, but this is just a guess. I'm going to take my team out of pride and just hoping that we win. I'll take them 27-23. I will. I don't feel good about this because what is there to feel good with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge calling plays? Well, Matt Patricia mainly. But give me the Patriots 27-23. This is a pride pick. Titans Chargers. The only hope I have is the Jets and the Chargers both lose. The only hope I have. And we win, of course. But Tennessee has to get right. They have to get right. Okay? The Chargers are horrible versus the run. Tennessee, King Henry, he fumbled twice. He's going to run angry. Okay? I got the Titans 28-24 in Chargers, and I think Tennessee gets back on track. Bengals and Bucks. I want to pick Tampa because I'm a Brady fan. I know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I'm going to take the Bengals 23-17. I think Burrow and company are going to do just enough because I don't trust this Tampa offense to get things right. And that defense, Todd Bowles likes the blitz. Burrow's killing the blitz. Give me the Bengals 23-17 over Tampa. Giants, Washington. I want to pick Washington so bad. I can't do it. I can't trust Heineke. I don't know if Chase Young's playing. I want to pick Wash so bad. I really do. But I just have this gut feeling the Giants are going to win. I just do. Okay? They got smoked. They got to win this game. How is Wash going to be off the bye week? I am rooting for Wash for pride. Give me the Giants 20-17 in a close one. I hope I'm dead wrong on this pick too. I really do. I want them to crash so bad because when the sky falls, it's going to be Christmas, okay, for me. My Christmas is the Giants missing the playoffs and getting absolutely fallen apart. Please, Wash beat this team. Give me the Giants 20-17 though. I don't see Wash beating them at home. I don't. I hope I'm wrong though. Packers and the Rams. It's supposed to be 8 degrees Monday night. There's no way Baker Mayfield goes for heroics 2 weeks in a row. Give me the Packers 27-13. I trust Aaron Rodgers and company to win at home over the Rams. All right, so those are the picks for Week 15. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell and that subscribe button so that way you can get the latest notifications all around the NFL season and when we have a new episode of either Lounge Time or Guarantee It's, so that you guys can stay up to date for the rest of the season. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good night, everyone.